Hey guys, today we are making some General Style chicken, and I'm finally bringing you my recipe, which a lot of people have requested, and I'm super excited to bring it to you. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the soy sauce. I have here 3/8 of a cup of regular soy sauce. This is not dark soy sauce, just regular soy sauce. I've also got a half a cup of granulated sugar. You're also going to need 2 tablespoons of vinegar, just regular vinegar. I also got 1 teaspoon of sesame seed oil, as well as 1/8 of a cup of oyster sauce. I've got here a half a cup of sweet chili sauce. And I've also got a 1/4 cup of hoisin sauce and 1 teaspoon of grated ginger. Now, I also have some garlic and a green onion. I'm just going to get rid of that little root there. And I'm going to finely chop the entire green onion up. I'm just going to go ahead and chop that up. And we're going to go ahead and put that in our soy sauce. I've also got my garlic here. I have 3 cloves of garlic. Originally, I had 4, but I will be using 3 cloves because these are 3 large cloves, and I will be just finely mincing that. So let me go ahead and just mince this up. Depends on the size of your cloves of garlic. I originally thought I was going to use 4, but it turned out that 3 was enough for me. So I'll go ahead and finish mincing that up. That looks just about right. I'm just going to pour it into my bowl with my soy sauce there. And it's pretty simple. All we're going to do is just combine all of these ingredients together. I have my sesame seed oil and my oyster sauce. And I've also got my hoisin sauce and my grated ginger. Now I will have all of these ingredients listed in the description box below. So, I will have everything written down for you to make it a little easier, so don't worry about that. That's my sweet chili sauce, and I've also got my granulated sugar. All of these sauces you can find in your international section in your supermarket. So you will find all of these sauces just fine. My 2 tablespoons of vinegar. And I'm just going to mix that all around with my soy sauce that was already in that bowl. And all my green onion, garlic, and everything. Now I do have 1/8 of a cup of sriracha sauce that I forgot to have out, but I also will be using. So I'm also going to add that to my list of ingredients. And what we're going to do is we're just going to mix this up, and I'm going to go ahead and get my sriracha sauce and add it to this. Now I'm adding the sriracha sauce for a little bit of heat because normally in a General Style sauce there is that little kick from it. If you don't have sriracha sauce, you can use pepper flakes as well, but I like the sriracha sauce better, and I really do suggest that you go and get the sriracha sauce for it because instead of the pepper flakes, because it does add just a hint more flavor to it that I think it just works really, really well with the sauce. And, well, I'm adding a little bit more chili sauce to this, but as I said, everything will be in the description, so don't worry about it. I have everything that I did put. Now, this sauce is going to have to sit for at least 30 minutes before we go ahead and do all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and I'm going to go and work on my chicken. Alrighty, so here we have our chicken, which I am using chicken thighs, which is the best kind of meat for this. This is boneless, skinless chicken thighs that is cut into about 1 inch by inch pieces. I've got 1.5 tablespoons of granulated garlic and 1 tablespoon of granulated onion. I've also got a pinch of salt in my chicken. And I'm going to add some pepper to it. Now you can use white pepper or you can use black pepper. I'm using black pepper today. I've used both on different occasions and they both work just fine. Now I did add a pinch of salt to it. I did not put a lot of salt because everything's already pretty salty and I don't want to just, make it overly salty. So I just put a pinch. I also have 1 egg that I'm just going to add to that. I also put in my granulated garlic and onion. I'm just going to give that a nice mix. Get everything really well combined, everything nice and mixed up. All those flavors just blend so well together. Now this is going to have to also sit for at least 30 minutes. Now, normally what I do is I do this the night before for 2 reasons. It saves on time the day that I'm ready to do this, like the next day. It saves on a lot of time, so I don't have to go ahead and do all of this. And I do the same thing with my sauce, but I do it the night before, but at least 30 minutes is what we're going to need for the sauce and as well for the chicken. Now I do want to point out that if you are doing this the night before, you do want to take your chicken out of the fridge for at least 30 minutes or so before you're ready to put it to fry, because you don't want to put cold meat into hot oil. And for your sauce, one more quick tip: if you do want to stretch this sauce a bit, normally they add chicken stock to this sauce. I did not add any because I didn't need any. This is a perfect amount for this amount of chicken. But if you did want to make a little bit more chicken and you wanted to stretch the sauce a little bit more, you can add about 1/4 cup of chicken stock to this and the sauce will be fine. So you can also use either chicken bouillon and water, or you can just get some chicken stock and use. Alrighty, so it's been 30 minutes and my chicken has been sitting and marinated in all that goodness of garlic and onion. And what we're going to do now is I have some cornstarch and my chicken. Now you can use chicken breast for this as well. I'm using chicken thighs because that's what's normally used, but you can use chicken breast. I'm going to go ahead and pour in my cornstarch over my chicken. Now I have 1/3 cup of cornstarch and I will be using all of it. I'm going to go ahead and mix that all together. Just try and get, the cornstarch mixed really, really well. We don't want to see any of that cornstarch in there. We just want it to be all mixed up. Alrighty, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and add in my little bit that I have left over. So in total it was 1/3 cup of cornstarch, but everything will be listed below in the description box. Get that a nice little mixeroo. And I'm also going to add some vegetable oil to this. I'm using about 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, and I'm going to mix that in as well. What that's going to do is help prevent it from sticking to each other while we are frying it, which we will be frying it in some vegetable oil as well. So I have about, my pot, I have some vegetable oil coming up to temperature in my pot. I can't tell you exactly how much to use because it depends on the size of your pot that you're using. So here I've got my vegetable oil coming up to temperature. It's already there actually. I'm going to take the bottom of my wooden spoon, place it at the bottom of the pot. You see bubbles? Then it's ready. You're going to use a wooden spoon or anything like that, like a wooden chopstick or anything like that. But once you see bubbles, you know it's ready. Now I'm going to just take it with my hands and place it in the hot oil. Now be careful because it will be hot and it might splatter. You can use any utensil that you want. I'm just so used to doing it by now that I do use my hands for it because it's just much easier for me that way. And I'm adding in, I don't want to overcrowd my pot. I don't want to do that, and nor do I want to drop the temperature of my oil. So I'm not adding in a whole lot at one time. I'm doing one at a time, and when I drop one, I wait a few seconds and I wait to put another one in, because it just kind of, to me, it just helps bring the temperature back up a little bit instead of just putting 2 or 3 right after each other. So I just do one at a time. And I'm going to let this cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. About 6 minutes is a sweet spot for me, but 5 to 7 minutes. You want it to be nice and golden brown, and I will show you what that looks like when we get there. So it's been about 6 minutes or so, and as you can see, these are nice and golden brown, and they don't stick to each other at all. And that's just because of that little bit of vegetable oil that we added to our batter that we had put in with the cornstarch. So I'm just going to scoop these out, try to get as much oil to stay in the pot as possible, and I will be placing them on a plate that is lined with paper towels or napkins just to soak up any of that excess oil, because we don't need all of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to just place my second batch in the exact same way, do the exact same thing, one at a time, and then we are ready to go. All of my chicken are fried up, and now I have my pot here, another one that is come up to temperature. It's nice and hot, no oil needed, just tossing in my sauce. Let's just get all of that in there because that's good stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to wait for this to come up to a slight boil, I guess, if you want to say. Wait till we get some bubbles going before we add in our chicken. So I'm just going to wait for that to happen, and then we will add in our chicken. Alrighty, so if you can see those bubbles like I can, then you know that it's time to add those little pieces of chicken in. There goes my beautiful pieces of chicken that is nice and golden brown. And add that all in. And then I will just give it a nice little mix around with my spoon and coat every piece of that chicken with that delicious sauce that we created, that we made. And we're going to do the same thing again. We're just going to wait for that to come up to a little boil again. And I have made a cornstarch slurry, which I use 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water. About 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water. Maybe 1.5 or so, but I will let you know in the description box below. I think I used about 2 tablespoons. And anywho, I did mix that slurry together, and I will be adding it to this mixture once it comes up to a boil. As you can see, it's come up to a boil there at all those bubbles. Now I'm going to add in my cornstarch mixture. And that is going to thicken up this sauce really, really nice. That's exactly what we want. Now I added in about half of my mixture. I'm going to be using all of it because it's not that much. But what it's going to do is thicken up that sauce, make it really nice, and just like it's going to cling to the chicken, which is what I wanted to do and which is what it should do. So let that cook through for a few minutes. I added in the rest of it right there. Give that a nice mixeroo. We want all of that whiteness that we see from the cornstarch. We want that all to cook through, and it will thicken up in a few minutes. So just keep mixing it and let it do its thing. And here we have it. This is the final product. It is absolutely done. Well, we have to add just some garnish. You can add some green onions or some sesame seed. But as you can see from the sauce that it's really nice and thick. It's just coating that chicken just perfectly. And now you can, like I said, you can top this with some sesame seed oil. Sesame seed oil. No, please don't top it with sesame seed oil. Sesame seeds. You can use some toasted sesame seeds or just some regular sesame seeds. You can even just take your regular sesame seeds and toast them in a skillet and then pour them on top for just a slight extra flavor. Or some chopped up green onions. Whichever way you choose, this is done. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And I hope you see that it's really not that difficult to do. And it's actually much healthier and easier for you to do it at home than getting it, somewhere else and you don't know what's in there. But now you do, and I hope you guys enjoy the recipe. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.